What I think should happen is maybe just to go around the table and give some idea of what you're hoping for, so that we have a general consensus of where we're trying to work toward. Are we trying to fix what's there? Are we thinking we want to move it? If we had any sort of consensus. Bob, do you want to start?
Okay. Well, I used to be a dog owner. I'm not one now, so. But anyways, I still appreciate the people that do have dogs as pets and whatnot. And certainly the existing, what's there now existing has been well used. I mean, without question. Without question, you know, and that's good for the dog owners. I got a couple of issues in that I believe where it is situated right now is too close to residential. Okay, and the second thing is that I believe in Larry, you might be able to correct me on this. Between 90 and the early 90s to 95, that first road was realigned, or at least there was an option so that it would swing over and align with the end of Warren Street, so that when Warren Street was extended through at some point in time, it would hook up with what's now in Sully's and, you know, beyond. I mean, the council of the day decided that was the right thing to do, and I'm not going to speak for the municipal engineer, but from an engineering perspective, it makes more sense. It's certainly better to have a four-way aligned intersection than to have a staggered intersection like that. Not only that, we've got Sunset coming in 150 feet further down. But I mean, that's so I mean, I guess those are the two things.
I agree that there was an aligning, but there was also a decision of council based on the existing temporary use that it be realigned and it can stay in the configuration that is currently at. I think the purpose of this meeting is to hear information like that, and if there are other alternatives of moving it, the temporary dog park further back or doing something different, that's possible. And I've made a note that.
So yeah, I guess for the rest of the people here, like I do live within 150 feet of the dog park, and to me, it should be looked at. I don't know what's been done prior to this. I think that if there are other areas within the municipality that could be investigated, I think it should be done. And I'm not saying go put it in somebody else's backyard. If it's deemed in the end, after all possibilities are looked at, that vicinity is the right vicinity for a dog park, at the very least, it should be moved back. Because I think, to me, it'd be a big mistake to plant that thing exactly where it is and have Warren Street misaligned.
I totally agree with Bob. I think there's a great need for the dog park. Our concern is also where it is. And the dog's unleashed. And since our last meeting, there have been a couple more than large dogs out unleashed with kids around. So some of the other residents weren't happy with that. And the noise itself, if it can't be moved, you know, like from that old area into an industrial area, then moving it back. I think it's better right now since the opening gate has gone, I guess, to the side. I agree with what Bob has said as well. I was concerned with, you know, just the way Warren Street extension will go.
There's lots of people that use it. This spot, really, there's some problems with it. We would like a double gate. That is a absolute need. As to where the park is, it doesn't really matter to me. It's not, I would like it not around houses. We look at the other dog parks in Ontario and they're not around houses. I think that's maybe our first step is finding a spot for it. Just want to reiterate, we do have people who have special needs that visit and use it. So it has to be a place where everyone can access it easily.
My name's
Catherine Robinson, and we do have a Facebook group for the dog park, and you guys might know, just to coordinate times that we can get together. And so we did put together a little document on there to just kind of coordinate what our thoughts are on what we think should be there. We have some, we think, must-haves, which we included the chain link fence, a double gate, parking with snow
Just
removal.
slow down.
No, sorry.
Chain link.
Chain link fence. And then the double gate, as Linda said.
Double gate.
And then just some parking and snow removal. Obviously, in the wintertime, if there was snow removal in that area, we wouldn't be parking on the road. We also said that nice to haves would be a water tap, trees in the area, as well as a windbreak.
If it stays there, it's brutal in the winter.
Would you visualize the windbreak, if it stayed or moved or whatever, not being a fence, but being
Well, it could be
proper
parking.
vegetation? In fairness, when you put those in residential areas, you run into more and more. That's why I was referring to more the trees.
And the vegetation too, if you plant vegetation across there too, that'll beautify that. Like that'll block the view of the sewage plant
Well,
and
the problem
make it...
with that is, Jeremy, we've had in the past where some of the neighbors didn't want plantings.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's the case with you, but I know the previous owners did not want plantings along that side because they wanted to be, but maybe there's different things that can be done. So I made a note of that, I'm just mentioning some things.
So those are the things that we decided that should be in a dog park regardless of where it is. And then we were kind of looking to the town to propose different ideas and possibilities. And then we could do pros and cons of those.
My name's Lynette Gerber. I'm also a regular user of the dog park, have been since it opened. I think that this meeting boils down to sort of 4 key things. Number 1, what is the intent of the current land location of the dog park? Is the intent for further development of the town, or is that plan from the 90s a done deal? Secondly, we're looking for simply a functional, accessible, maintained dog park with suitable parking. Third thing, as Catherine mentioned, is a list of criteria for this park based on our perceived needs and also based on structures of other dog parks in neighboring municipalities. And then fourthly, to explore...
Can you explain that one more time?
Sure.
What was that third?
Criteria for the park based on our perceived needs, and also modeled after other dog parks in other municipalities.
Dog owners' perceived needs.
Right.
Talking about a set of guidelines or rules for the park?
I think that they're not necessarily guidelines. By criteria, I'm talking about, well, you could talk about 2 ways. You could talk about user rules. You could also talk about structure of that park. What does it look like? The dog park in Stratford, for example, has a wooded area with paths through it. The structure at Adelaide in London is a more open, still has lots of trees. It has a small dog area and a large dog area. So when I say looking at other municipalities have gone before us and done a lot of the groundwork in these areas, but I guess my question is, what is their criteria that they use to develop their parks? And so maybe we can piggyback on some of that.
I did a lot of research ahead of time, way before this meeting, before we brought it up at council. What you have there is absolutely as temporary as you can possibly have. I was asked to put up a dog fenced area and open it as inexpensively as we could, okay, to see if there was a need. There is a need. That was in 30 days we knew there was a need. The development beyond that was, and some other things came up. We may not have even put it there originally if we had realized the road alignment at the start, because that came up after the fact. All of the things that you have indicated are on the plan for the permanent facility, okay? Including water long-term. Part of the reason for picking that spot over a number of others that we investigated was that there was water there that we could tap into and run to. We always had plans for a double gate. We knew there would be mud problems there, and I'll be honest with you, there's mud problems almost in every dog park in Ontario. And we're not going to solve that one 100% no matter what we do. Because I talked to a lot of, the number one park building scenario in the city of Toronto is dog parks. And they now are taking over sports fields, baseball diamonds and a number of other things because they're underused and how the demographics are changing all over the place. So we're all in agreement that we need a dog park. Let me just list down a few places that we originally looked at and so on, that we considered originally. We first looked at actually putting a proper fence up on the waterfront, where there's a dog off-lead area now. Okay, right at the end of the Cove Road, that's an off-lead dog run area. There's some real problems with that, and the biggest problem being winter maintenance. Okay, it's fine for the summer, but winter is a major, major problem.
I think that area is a major safety issue as well, due to the concrete and steel and all that.
You know,
goes
I'm just
down
saying,
because the dog.
this is what we, there's been a lot of reasons why we've kind of backed away from it.
Yeah, but I'm just
safety is always one that we look at, and so on. And safety of that little bridge as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a whole lot of issues. We looked at Optimus Park, very underused space in our community. No, it's right across from the salt,
The old landfill site.
the old landfill site down in the river valley. There's a wonderful space there, and so on. That hooks onto the Making Trail and a number of other things, lots of parking, and we cut it on a regular basis and so on. Again, again, the number one problem is snow and getting up and down that hill in the wintertime. So that was one of the reasons why we eliminated that space. We looked at areas at that time where there was one or two vacant lots on Parsons Court, where my office is, and so on.
Is that behind the next one?
Right on the same street.
Yeah, across the street, essentially.
And but they've been sold now, so that was kind of wasn't an option very long, but it had come up in our conversations. We also had looked at around the corner from where the existing one is, where the actual park is that's fenced right now. At the top of the hill, Lakeside Park. We looked at as well, because of underuse and so on, Delaware. That's kind of off of Bennett and Don Rose. Mary Street, top of Mary Street, kind of behind Strickland's, just kind of back in. Sorry? Yeah, condos are going up now in the lot behind it, the 5-acre lot behind that. So that was one of the sites that we looked at. And those were the sites in particular that were on the drawing board several years ago when we first started talking about this. And a number of councillors and I went around and visited each one and kind of did an evaluation of each of those particular areas. We had also even talked very briefly about the field right behind the cemetery is, at the cemetery. There's a big 3 acres, 4-acre field that's there. So that was, and that one actually was on the drawing board for a little longer than a lot of the others because we do have winter maintenance there. We do have water there, and so on and so forth.
It was a compatibility with people coming and going, and their funerals during the day, their funerals in the afternoon, that type of activity. We can regulate the workers in the cemetery because they're the ones performing the duties and responsibilities, but if you have people coming there, they don't want to see all kinds of vehicles and dogs running and then they're going through that, so probably wasn't for that reason.
What about across from the hospital?
Oh, yes, we did look at part of that land there too. Right beside the hospital.
Town owns about 4 acres north of the clinic. The difficulty is that it's ready for development. There's land behind requires some environmental to be done, and we've had interested developers that want to do something. I'm not saying we're doing anything with the clinic, but right now we're at capacity with the clinic. The expansion of the clinic probably wouldn't be to the north, but that's where stormwater management pond is. I don't know if there's going to be a use to put the types of things in there and then deal with this in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years when we made it permanent. And the development does come along, and we're sitting here saying, you almost got to find a chunk of land, like you started out saying, that land is designated now to be developed for a dog park and it's suitable and meets everybody's requirements, and it's not going to be temporary, it's going to be permanent. That land, again, may not be a permanent situation.
So the response to Lynette's question in terms of the intent of the existing location, is it intended to be developed at some point? Well, I don't really know what its zoning is.
No, you actually wanted the buffer between the road and the water pollution control plant. It was never designed to be developed there. It was designed to bring the road back in, join it in, or align it. You don't have to, but and the council said they're going to look at it, but there's all kinds of things that can happen with developments if they ever do, that those might be main access roads. They're not designed to be in the long-term picture. You're better served, but you're not going to get entry off Highway 21 for any developments that are not quite occurring right now, but may occur if boundary changes occur, because the only road access is Deckard Road, which is in the center here. It was never designed to be part of it. It was designed to be developed as sort of on hold right now. So to answer your question, you got to consider the flow of traffic. If something did happen, you didn't have access to Highway 21.
Pardon me, Larry, is there anything about the industrial park?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the end.
Not the Knights of Columbus, what is it?
Market Street.
The hall, like all back in there?
St. Vincent Paul, that's also privately owned. But there are other areas. People are agreeable to looking at, say, the industrial park area, and they don't care where it is. Then we would, I think the outcome of the meeting I thought might be to physically go down and look at some areas, bring it back. I don't think we can all go, but bring it back, because we can have the council chambers for the next meeting. It's going to take a little while with everything else going on, but we've got to be cognizant of what the town has for sale. The area that came to mind might have been the property we just bought with the warehousing, which we are now on Hawkins Street. But there are other areas that we're working on that we might be able to consider that are going to be more permanent and not used. There's 1 or 2 that, like this didn't,
They'd like the
2
pond.
years ago, some changes in 2 years, some of the properties out there may provide an opportunity, but we haven't pursued.
So it seems to me that the best thing to do would be to come back to a future meeting with those maps of industrial park, saying this is the potential place where it could go, giving folks the opportunity to go and look at it. What are the amenities? Because from my perspective, I want us to do it and do it right and make sure we don't have to move it and begin a long-term development of something that, as Jeremy says, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but that we can plan it in this designated. That's what I would take to
I think I would suggest it to you. I'll say myself, because I know all the industrial land once for sale would have to be retained at this point in time.
Yeah.
And Martin would go out and we'll go through the industrial park